In the case of the Yazidis, Yazidi women, they talked about that they're not the people of the book. That's why it is allowed, it's legal, it's religiously allowed for ISIS to do this. But that's just using religion as an excuse, as a cover.
You know, the word slavery. For some people who are new to the human trafficking field, they think this is novel, and they think the special form of degradation that ISIS, has been pursuing deserves the term. But, the reason the human trafficking field has adopted that term is it's really not about the movement of people as much as about the gross exploitation and dehumanization of people.
First is the psychosocial support and trauma counseling. That's very important, because what sexual violence does is not only it dehumanizes you, it degrades you as a human being. So the stigma, because if you take, for example, the Yazidi, it's a very traditional community, very cultural. And so for those girls, at the beginning of the ISIL's attack on the Yazidis, the suicide rate was extremely high, because these girls could not face back their communities.
What ISIS brought to light and what was happening before is that social media, the international media, brought more light to it, and people have, the heinous acts. You hear a story of a 17-year-old girl, and then you said, okay, this is the most horrible you've heard. And wait until you hear the story of the 11 years old, and wait until you hear the story of the 7 years old. So there's a barbarism and criminality in these people that no justification or framework justifies.
How do you get these women to pick up the pieces of their lives? So for those women, even before you start talking about justice, you need to be able to provide the psychosocial supports, the medical supports, and the livelihood supports, because they have children. I've met women who have 5, 6 children. Once they were raped, the husband said, I'm not even too sure the children are mine anymore. So she is thrown out. And in this part of the world, marriage is between families. Once you get married to one family, you're gone. It's the sons who remain in the original family. So the family doesn't take you back. So once the husband's family abandon you, you're finished. So a lot of these women actually become destitute.
It's not a women's issue. This is an issue about a category of human beings being treated as subhuman. And that's what connects the criminality of trafficking to general atrocities in war to this specific case of ISIS.
They're being treated as commodities, and even they're treated as spoils of war. And the Yazidis did not go to war with ISIS. It was ISIS that attacked them. So even that justification really doesn't stand ground. It's a cover. For me, the religion, we'll talk to the Muslim community, they would tell you that Islam as a religion came to rescue women because the kind of circumstances that ISIS takes them through now, Islam at its foundation was trying to treat that and prevent that and address that. So today, whatever ISIS says, it's a justification in a larger, bigger issue. I think they are doing this for bigger strategic purposes.
Victims of sexual violence are not seen as victims of terrorism. In Bosnia, we had to fight. When the law was passed in Bosnia, victims of the rape in Bosnia are not victims of the war. So we're struggling still to have them recognized as victims of terrorism, because when they are recognized as victims of terrorism, then they can benefit from the reparation and the resources. So that's why we keep saying that when I said in my statement, they have to be seen as victims of terrorism, so that we have to include in the counter-terrorism strategies the protection and empowerment of women. And so the challenge we have, when are we going to have accountability? How are we going to have accountability? Who is going to know? So those are some of the challenges that we have, and the Yazidis and the other minors, especially the Yazidis, are very angry, I have to say, because they are saying nobody's paying attention to it. Genocide crimes have been committed against them, and they don't see any indication of any action of accountability.